When you're living in a constant state of stress, anxiety, or trauma, your brain begins to associate certain feelings, sounds, thoughts, or environments with fear, danger, or overwhelm. Over time, this becomes a deeply wired pattern, one that operates automatically, even when the threat is no longer real. You wake up and feel anxious for no reason. You replay that one memory. You freeze up at the idea of doing something new. But here's the true thing: if you don't consciously interrupt that loop, your brain will keep running the same program day after day, year after year. And unless you change the pattern, nothing else changes. The first key to transforming your emotional state is not insight. It's not reflection. It's not understanding why you feel this way. The first step is intervention. You have to get in there and break the automatic cycle in real time. The moment you start to feel yourself spiraling, when your breath shortens, your thoughts speed up, your chest tightens, you need to physically and emotionally snap yourself out of it. You need to change your state immediately. That means engaging your body, your focus, and your energy all at once. Think about it. Can you feel anxious while jumping up and down and shouting in a peak state? No. Your nervous system doesn't work that way. Your mind follows your body. Most people try to think their way out of stress, but you can't solve an emotional state with thoughts alone. The fastest, most reliable way to shift your mental state is through your physiology. That's why in all my events, we get people moving, shouting, clapping, dancing. Not because it's fun, though it is, but because we're hacking the nervous system. We're breaking the pattern. And once you break the pattern, you can insert a new one. Let's say you wake up and immediately feel dread. Your instinct is to stay in bed, to scroll your phone, to replay your worries. That's your brain down the old road. Instead, what if you immediately stood up, took 10 deep breaths, shouted, "Why yes," 10 times, jumped in a cold shower, or blasted music and danced like crazy for 60 seconds? You'd feel ridiculous. But you know what else you'd feel? Different. You'd break the loop before it could take hold. You have to make your response to stress more powerful than the stress itself. That's the pattern interrupt. And here's what most people don't realize: your emotional patterns are just habits. If you practice anxiety every day, you get good at it. If you rehearse stress every morning, your body memorizes it. But you can interrupt it. And when you do it consistently, the old pattern weakens. You stop being a victim of your automatic thoughts, and you start becoming the creator of your emotional reality. This isn't just about energy. This is about life mastery. When you learn to shift your state in an instant, you regain control. You become bigger than your problems. You stop reacting and start responding. When something triggers you, instead of falling into the same emotional trap, you smile, you breathe, you change your posture, you say something out loud that shifts your focus. That's how transformation starts. Not with analysis, but with decisive action. You can't meditate your way out of trauma if your body is still addicted to the adrenaline. You can't journal your way to peace if you're still rehearsing panic in your physiology. You have to disrupt it first. Then you can reprogram. Then you can install new meaning, new beliefs, new habits. But you can't rewire a brain that's stuck in the storm. You have to clear the skies first. Every time you feel that old stress response rise up, boom, that's your cue. Don't wait. Don't negotiate. Don't try to reason with it. Get up, move, make a sound. Shake your body, take control. Do something that completely changes your internal chemistry. You have a screwed up light. It's not about being calm. It's about being in charge. When you train your body and your brain to recognize that you're the one driving, everything starts to shift. You don't have to be a victim of your triggers. You don't have to be at the mercy of your emotions. You just need the courage to interrupt the pattern again and again until the old loop fades and a new reality takes its place. The quality of your life comes down to the state you live in daily. And the state you live in is one decision away from being transformed. So make that decision. Don't wait. Interrupt the pattern and take your power back. Pain is inevitable in life. Every one of us goes through moments that feel unbearable. Loss, trauma, betrayal, failure. But the truth is, it's never the event itself that defines your life. It's the meaning you attach to that event. Two people can go through the exact same situation. One rises, the other collapses. Why? Because one gave it a meaning that empowered them, while the other gave it a meaning that destroyed them. Meaning is everything. And the beautiful thing is, you are the author of that meaning. You may not be able to control what happened to you, but you have absolute control over what it means to you. If you say to yourself, this happened because I'm cursed, or I'm not enough, or nothing ever works out for me, you're assigning a disempowering meaning. That meaning becomes your story. That story becomes your identity, and your identity shapes your entire future. But here's the shifting: you can rewrite the story. You can reassign the meaning. And when you change the meaning, you change everything. Let's be clear, and I'm not saying what happened to you wasn't real or painful or traumatic. Maybe you were abused. Maybe you were abandoned. Maybe you lost everything. I'm not here to minimize it. I'm here to show you that you don't have to carry it like a curse for the rest of your life. Because here's the truth: the past only lives on when you keep feeding it with the same interpretation. You don't heal by forgetting. You heal by giving it new meaning. You can look at your trauma and say, this broke me. Or you can look at it and say, this built me. You can say, because of this, I will never trust again. Or you can say, because of this, I know what real strength looks like. Meaning isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about choosing an interpretation that makes you stronger, not smaller. That makes you rise, not retreat. Think about the most inspiring people in the world. Almost all of them went through unimaginable pain. But what made them who they are is not what they endured. It's what they decided it meant. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, wrote that even in a concentration camp, people found purpose. He said, the last of human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. That is power. That is liberation. That is where your freedom begins. When something painful happens, your brain naturally asks, why? And if you don't consciously choose the answer, your mind will choose it for you, usually in the form of limitation, fear, or shame. But what if instead you ask a better question? What if you ask, how can this serve me? How can this pain become my purpose? What can I learn? And who can I help because I went through this? Those are the questions that rewrite meaning. And those questions turn pain into fuel. I've worked with people who have survived unthinkable things. People who've been through war, lost children, battled addiction, faced death. And the ones who truly transform are the ones who refuse to be defined by the event. They make a decision to say, this is not the end of my story. It's the beginning of something greater. That doesn't mean they forget what happened. It means they assign a new role to it in their life. Instead of being the reason they stay stuck, it becomes the reason they move forward. You have that same power. Right now, whatever you're carrying, whatever story you've been repeating, you can pause and ask, is this helping me grow or keeping me small? Is this meaning making me bitter or making me better? If the answer is anything other than empowering, it's time to rewrite it. And here's how you start and speak it out loud. This is not happening. It's happening for me. It may not feel true at first, but say it until your nervous system starts to believe it. Anchor into gratitude for how far you've come. Claim your strength out loud. Write a new story. I went through hell, but I came back wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. I didn't break. I evolved. You don't have to wait for someone to give you permission. You don't need closure from someone who hurt you. You don't need everything to make sense. You just need to decide right now that you will no longer carry a meaning that keeps you in pain. Instead, you will create a meaning that leads you to power. That's the moment everything changes. Because once you rewrite the meaning, the past stops controlling you. The chains fall off. The weight lifts. And you finally step into the freedom of who you were always meant to be. Your mindset is like a muscle. If you don't train it every single day, it weakens. If you don't condition it, the world will, through negativity, fear, stress, and constant distraction. The truth is, most people are living in mental patterns they didn't consciously choose. They wake up and check their phones, absorb bad news, replay old worries, and wonder why they feel stuck, anxious, or overwhelmed. But you cannot live an extraordinary life with a disempowered mindset. If you want to break free from chronic stress, anxiety, PTSD, or negative emotion, you must condition your mind daily. Not once a month, not when you're feeling good, every single day. It's non-negotiable. The mind left on autopilot is a dangerous thing. It will drift to fear, judgment, self-doubt, and limitation because the brain's primary job is survival, not happiness. And in survival mode, all your brain wants to do is protect you from danger, even if that danger is just an uncomfortable conversation, a new opportunity, or a challenge that could actually change your life. That's why you have to take back control. You have to train your brain to serve you, not stop you. Condition your mindset means creating habits, rituals, and routines that shift your emotional state, reinforce empowering beliefs, and build resilience. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't skip it just because you don't feel like it. You do it because if you don't, decay sets in. Your mindset is no different. If you're not actively feeding it with strength, gratitude, focus, and purpose, it will default to weakness, negativity, distraction, and fear. So how do you condition a new mindset? You start with your morning. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start with chaos, you carry chaos. But if you start with clarity and intention, you build momentum. I teach something called priming, a simple but powerful process that includes breath work, visualization, and gratitude. It takes just 10 minutes, and it wires your brain to focus on what's right, not what's wrong. Start by breathing deeply. Change your physiology. Stand or sit tall. Then shift into gratitude. Think of 3 things you're grateful for. Not big, dramatic things, but small, real ones. A moment of laughter, a warm cup of coffee, the strength to keep going. Gratitude is the antidote to fear and anger. You can't feel both at the same time. Next, visualize the life you want. See it, feel it, step into it mentally. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's real. So give your brain a clear picture to work toward. But don't stop at the morning. Conditioning your mind is not a one and done. Throughout the day, you have to guard your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. Where focus goes, energy flows. Are you focusing on what's out of your control or what's in your hands? Are you obsessing over problems or directing energy towards solutions? Whenever you feel yourself drifting into stress or anxiety, catch it, interrupt it. Don't judge yourself, just redirect. Ask a better question. What else could this mean? What's great about this I haven't noticed yet? How can I use this to grow? The questions you ask daily shape your mindset. Low-quality questions produce low-quality lives. High-quality questions create high-performance thinking. And don't underestimate the power of repetition. Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not good enough, you wire that belief deeper. But if you declare daily, I am strong, I am resourceful, I am resilient, even if you don't fully believe it yet, keep going. Eventually, your identity will rise to match your declarations. Your life. This is how you go from being a prisoner of your emotions to becoming the architect of your life. You train your mind to see opportunity instead of threat, strength instead of fear, solutions instead of problems. But it requires commitment, not perfection, not motivation. Commitment. You don't get to think powerfully one day and expect lifelong change. You must show up for your mind the way a warrior trains for battle. Every day, whether you feel like it or not. Because here's the truth, life will hit you. Challenges will come. But when your mindset is conditioned, when it's strong, focused, and flexible, nothing can break you. You don't fall apart. You rise. You adapt. You lead. The quality of your mindset determines the quality of your life. So build it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Choose every day to train your thoughts, direct your focus, and install beliefs that serve the future you're building. You may not control every event in your life, but you can always control how you respond. And that response begins with the mind you've trained. There comes a point on every journey of healing, growth, or personal transformation where you realize something profound. All the progress in the world, all the strategies, the breakthroughs, the mindset shifts mean very little if you're only doing it for yourself. Real, lasting fulfillment doesn't come from just fixing your own life. It comes from stepping outside of yourself. It comes from service and from connection. When you make your life about something greater than your own pain, you tap into a power that transforms you at the deepest level. When you're battling stress, anxiety, PTSD, or emotional exhaustion, it's easy to become consumed by your own experience. The world shrinks. Your focus narrows to survival. You think, I just need to get through the day. And that's okay for a time. But if you stay there, you'll miss the key that unlocks the next level of healing. Because the fastest way out of suffering is to stop focusing solely on yourself and start asking, how can I serve? Who else needs help? Who can I lift today? This isn't just about being a good person. It's not about being selfless or noble. It's about biology. It's about rewiring your nervous system. When you serve others, your focus shifts from fear to love, from scarcity to contribution. And the moment you do that, your emotional state begins to shift. You start to feel alive again. You feel useful, valued, purposeful. Not because your life is perfect, but because your pain now has meaning. Here's the paradox: sometimes the very thing that you think disqualifies you from helping others, your trauma, your heartbreak, your struggle, is the exact thing that makes you uniquely qualified to serve. If you've been through something dark and found your way out, even if you're not all the way there yet, you now hold a map that someone else desperately needs. You've been where they are. You understand in a way no one else can. That's not a weakness, it's your power. One of the most powerful ways to heal is to help someone else heal. It's not just an emotional idea, it's scientific. Studies show that acts of kindness, generosity, and connection release chemicals like oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. Natural antidotes to anxiety and depression. Your body literally rewards you for reaching out. We are wired to serve. We are built for connection. And when we honor that wiring, we begin to feel whole again. But service doesn't have to be grand. You don't have to start a charity or speak on a stage. Sometimes the most powerful form of service is simply being present with someone else, listening deeply, offering a kind word, sharing your story, checking in on a friend, smiling at a stranger. Every act of love is a step out of your own suffering and into your strength. Connection is just as vital. Humans are social creatures. Isolation feeds pain. Connection feeds life. If you've been withdrawing because of stress or anxiety, you need to break that pattern. You need to find your tribe. Maybe it's support groups, maybe it's friends, maybe it's people who've walked a similar road. But healing in isolation is nearly impossible. You don't need to share everything, but you do need to let someone in. One of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves is, no one would understand, or I'll be a burden. But the truth is, people want to be there for you. People want to understand. And when you have the courage to be vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. That's the power of authentic connection. It heals both people. You don't have to wait until you feel ready to serve or connect. You don't have to be fully healed to be a healer. You just have to show up with intention, with compassion, with openness. Your story, your scars, your resilience, they are gifts, not just for you, but for the world around you. And when you make it your mission to lift others, something extraordinary happens. Your pain becomes purpose. Your struggle becomes strength. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start declaring, this happened for me. And now I get to help someone else rise. This is how you truly transcend suffering. Not by avoiding it, not by numbing it, but by transforming it into fuel for love, contribution, and impact. The more you give, the more you grow. The more you connect, the more you heal. Service isn't just about changing the world. It's about changing yourself in the process. So if you want to live free, step into service. If you want to feel alive again, build connection. You were never meant to do this alone. And when you remember that, everything begins to change.